I got here a few drafts of Savitri, the first canto of Savitri, you see. This one belongs to the Arya period, 8th, 9th August Arya period.
Which year?
1916 to 1919.
Right.
That period, one of the first drafts, you see. Now, this at that time, this belonged to what he had called the Book of Love. This part belonged to our Book of Love until that, you see. I will show you some of these the details also. Now here, now you can see certain different, in a huge forest where the listening night heard lonely voices and a tread that had no sound for the glad heart of day. But now her phantom cries were not abroad, the panther's eyes glared not, the tiger slept hushed in his lair of jungle or deep grass. See the forest scene. Startling the white-browed night, young dawn awoke. Then, lain in her darker, thoughtful sister's robe, she pushed its friendly shadows from her eyes, and smiling, glad, pure thoughted care, she arose and let her lucent robe drift over the sky. And Savitri woke also mid the world that opened joyful eyes to life again, and gladly heard the voices and the stir of morning. Not joyfully she rose, but fear awoke with fear and trembled at the dawn. And then, nor knew she wherefrom the dull ache was there, till memory came, opening the bud, her strong sleep-shrouded soul. She looked within and saw the still white statue of pain erect. Within its temple, waiting like a god, daily oblation of her unwept tears. This was the day when Satyavan must die. Now, the seeds of what we have are present here. He says now here, statue, white statue of pain. That is what we have got, 2.35. 2.35. So you can see the connection here, 2.35. See, a guardian of the unconsoled abyss, inheriting the long agony of the globe, a stone still figure of high and godlike pain stared into space with fixed, regardless eyes that saw grief's timeless depths, but not life's goal. And then he goes on, afflicted by his harsh divinity, bound to his throne, he waited unappeased the daily oblation of her unwept tears. So this line belongs to that early period, you see, as it is. And you can see here also that pain, white statue of pain. Now here, of course, it doesn't say white statue, it's a stone statue. Stone still figure of high and godlike pain. He is capital here, he is small. But the seeds, elements are there in that early draft of that, you see.
He didn't mention the name Savitri at that time.
Huh?
He didn't mention the title Savitri.
Savitri, THRI.
At that time.
Yeah, THRI.
Because in the record of the guy mentioned many times.
No, the poem at that time was called Savitri, SAVITHRI. At the time. The poem was called THRI, Savitri. You see. That is what we have here. Within, like a god. So, but basically, daily operation of her unwept tears, exactly the same line as you got. So, he has retained that line in the final draft also. 2.36. Now, basically, so you can see now that these are hardly 20 lines or so. Here it has become 180, 185 lines now. It's the same canto in the beginning. In other words, the seed idea, seed, thought is there, and it developed in the form of a poetic essay in the final version. The development of the whole form as a poetic essay. So systematically you describe in a sequence all the events, all the steps through which it has gone through, you see. You describe all those things. So it becomes a kind of an essay, poetic essay, you see. So what we are, so it is that poetic essay, you may say, is the architecture of Savitri. See, here you don't see the architecture, it is narrative.
But he said also that he omitted nothing. He said also that he omitted nothing.
Nothing is Savitri. In the final. Yeah. You see now you see here you got the till memory came. 2 points? 3, 4. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And memory is case when open. You see, opening, same word memory, you see. Here you use word casement, windows. And as I said, casement is referring to Keats's Ode to Nightingale, as I told you that. Memory's casement open on the hours and the tired feet. And there is another important thing. Dull ache. Here we got. Now here we have got the same thing. Where from it came, she does not know. Whence it came. In this passage we have got that thing. She put her hand on her bosom and felt the ache. The body's voiceless call compelled her to put her hand on this one. Body's voiceless call. Yeah, okay. 2.29. Then a slow, faint remembrance, shadow-like mood, and sighing, she laid her hand upon her bosom and recognized the close and lingering ache, dull ache, lingering ache, deep, quiet, old, made natural to his face, but knew not why it was there, nor whence it came. He says that. So the seeds are there even in the very first kind of a draft, you see, earlier. You see. Now there is another important thing here which I was struck by that. Laid in her darker, thoughtful sister's robe. Now he doesn't say anywhere who is this sister, why she is laid, and what has happened. Nothing. But here in the final draft we have got here. Two point two seven. At first, life grieved not in her burdened breast. Got it? On the lap of earth's original somnolence. Lain in her darker, thoughtful sister's robe. Now, see what a change that has taken place. The line basically refers to this one only. Who is therefore the sister? Earth. If you compare these two drafts, this sister, what we got in 1916, is Earth. And darker thought. Here the phrase is original somnolence. Original somnolence. So now it is this kind of a poetic inspiration which is lifted up to the most beautiful and luminous occult level. Occult level. Laid in a darker, thoughtful sister's robe. Exactly the same thing. The whole description pertains to that, you see. And then, of course, he says, this line, of course, we know. And Savitri woke also. You see, it starts with, and Savitri woke also. meet the world that open joyful eyes again. That is how the second section begins. The second section, and Savitri again, you see, and Savitri too awoke among these tribes. Now these tribes, he has now kind of elaborated in the final, but Savitri awoke, met a world that opened joyful eyes to life. World that opened a joyful life, the new race, new possibility, the divine race. It is to that she is awaking, you see. The vital life, which are our demons and giants and titans, that is all over now. She is awakening to another joyful life, you see. Second canto. So, you see, even in the very first draft of Savitri, one of the earliest drafts, you see, you have seeds of that thing. But then they have been now kind of opened out fully, and it is that opening out fully gives the architectural completeness to the final Savitri, you see. Final Savitri. See here, I mean, in this very first draft, he says, and Savitri. That is the section. And Savitri too awoke among these tribes that hastened to join the brilliant Samanas chant. The brilliant Samanas chant. Now there he called brilliant Samanas voice. In one of the earlier drafts, called not chant, brilliant Samanas voice, not chant. And Samana is there in the earlier draft as small s, not capital S. Small s, Samanar. Here we got capital S in the final. See, Samana's chant in the earlier draft was Samana's call, Samana's voice. In fact, both. In one of the drafts it is Samana's voice, in another draft it is Samana's call. So chant and call and voice we can take as sort of equivalent, you see. So in that sense, how poetry also rose up. I have been using Savitri as a means to climb up the powers of expression. So this is a good example of that, you see. Samana's voice, Samana's call, Samana's chant, all is building up, you see. That becomes very clear, you see. Lane in a darker road, the darker thoughtful. Now this is, I was quite struck with this one. Darker thoughtful sister. What he calls in the final, Earth's original somnolence. You see, where suddenly where it has gone, original somnolence. So that is the beauty of Savitri, how it developed. You see, it is a story by itself. Yeah. It is a story by itself how Savitri developed. See, in the earlier part, in fact, there are basically three periods. You can say from the Arya period of Savitri, where it was the original narrative which was being described. Then from 1928, 27 or 28, 29 to roughly 1940 or so, that is the second period of Savitri. And the real period of Savitri started in the 1940s, the last 10 years. So it is the consolidation of all these earlier things, what you see in the final draft, the last 10 years of that thing. Now that is something important also. It means that all the experiences of spirituality which he had gathered in him, they have been put in Savitri. Last 10 years. See, suppose had he published in 1920 this draft, you would have missed all those things completely, you see. You would have missed all those things completely. Yeah, three phases, yeah. So I will say the final definitive period of Savitri are the last 8 or 10 years. Last 8 or 10 years. 1942 to 1950. The earlier was okay, he was scribbling, he was making notes, he was preparing some kind of drafts like a painter, he makes sketches and keeps them for future use. Painter makes sketches and keeps them for future use. This is what we have here earlier.